He that sweetest rose shall find must find love's prick and Rosaline. This is the very gallop of false verses. Why do you infect yourself with them?
Peace, you dull fool! I found them on a tree.
Then truly the tree yields bad fruit.
I'll grap it with you. Then I shall grap it with a medlar. And then it will be the earliest fruit in the country, for you'll be rotten ere you be half ripe, and that's the right virtue of the medlar.
So you say, but whether rightly or no, let the forest judge.
Peace. Here comes my sister reading. Stand aside.
Why should this a desert be? For it is unpeopled? No. Tongues I'll hang on every tree, or at every sentence end will I, Rosalinda, write, teaching all that read to know the quintessence of every sprite that heaven would in little show. Thus heaven nature charged that one body should be filled with all the graces wide enlarged. Presently nature distilled Helen's cheek, but not her heart, Cleopatra's majesty, Atalanta's better part, and sad Lucretia's modesty. Thus was Rosalind of many parts by heavenly synod devised, of many faces, eyes, and hearts, to have the touches dearest prized. Heaven would that she these gifts should have, and I to live and die her slave.
Oh, most gentle pulpiter, what tedious homily of love have you wearied your parishioners withal, and never quite have patience, good people.
Anna, good friends, good shepherd, go off with him. Go with him, Sarah.
Come, shepherd, let us make an honourable retreat. If not with bag and baggage, then with scrip and scrippage.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh yes, I heard them all and more too, for some of them had more feet than the verses could bear.
Well, that's no matter, the feet might bear the verses.
Aye, but the feet were lame and could not bear themselves without the verse, who therefore stood lamely in the verse.
But did you not wonder how your name came to be hanged and carved on all these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder, for look here, what I found on this palm tree. I was never so berhymed since Pythagoras' time that I was an Irish rat, of which I can barely remember.
Trow ye who have done this?
I pray thee who?
Oh, Lord, it is a hard matter for friends to meet, but mountains may be removed by earthquakes, and thus encounter.
Nay, but who is it? Is it possible? Nay, I pray thee, with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, 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 and yet again, wonderful. And after that, out of all whooping.
Good my complexion. Dost thou think, though I'm caparisoned like a man, that I've a doublet and hose in my disposition? 1 inch of delay more is a South Sea of discovery. I pray thee, tell me who it is, quickly, and speak apace. I would I could stammer, that I might pour this concealed man out of my mouth as wine comes out of a narrow-mouthed bottle, either too much at once or none at all. I pray thee, take the cork out of thy mouth, that dost thou drink thy tidings.
It is young Orlando, who tripped up both your heart and the wrestler's heels at once.
The devil take mocking. Speak, sad brow, true maid.
A faith curse 'tis she.
Orlando.
Orlando.
Alas! The day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? How looked she where thou saw'st her? What said she? Wherein went she? Did she ask for me? How parted she with thee? And when wilt thou see her again? Answer me in one word.
Thou must borrow me Gargantua's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any amount of our age's size. Indeed, to answer aye and no to all these particulars at once is more than to answer in a catechism.
But does she know that I'm in this forest in man's apparel? Looked she as freshly as she did the day she wrestled?
It is as easy to count atomies as it is to answer the propositions of a lover. Take this taste of my finding her, and relish it with good observance. I found her under a tree, like a dropped acorn.
Oh, it may well be called Jove's tree to have dropped forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay she, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Don't be pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry holler to thy tongue, I prithee, it curvets unseasonably. She was furnished like a huntress, and oh, ominous, she comes to kill my heart. I would sing my song without a burden. You bring me out of tune.
Do you not know that I am a woman? When I think I must speak.
Brings me out. Comes she not here?
'Tis she. Slip by and look her.
Why, my faith, I have as lief have been myself alone. And so had I. But yet, for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society. God be with you. Let's meet as little as we can. I do desire we may be better strangers.
Prithee, mar no more trees with writing love songs in their barks.
I pray you, mar no more of my verses by reading them ill-favouredly.
Rosalind is your love's name.
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. Have you been acquainted with goldsmiths' wives and conned them out of rings?
No, but I'll answer you right painted cloth, from whence you have studied your questions.
You have a nimble wit. I think 'twas made about Atlanta's heels. Will you sit down with me? Together we'll rail against our mistress the world and all our miseries.
I will chide no breather in the world but myself, against whom I know most faults.
What fault you have is to be in love.
It is a fault I would not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
He is drowned in the brook. Look but in and you shall see him.
There I shall see my own figure.
Which I take to be either a fool or a cipher.
I'll tarry no longer with you.
Farewell, good signor and love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, Monsieur Melancholy.
I will speak to her like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with her. How now, Forester?
Very well, what would you?
I pray thee, what is the clock?
You should ask what time of day. There's no clocks in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest, else groaning every minute and sighing every hour could detect the lazy foot of time as well as the clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had that not been as proper?
By no means, madam. Time moves in diverse places with diverse persons. I'll tell thee how time ambles withal, how time trots withal, how time gallops withal, and who he stands still withal.
I prithee, who doth he trot withal?
Marry, he trots hard with a young maid, between the contract of her marriage and the day that it is solemnized. If the interim be but a sennight, time's pace is so hard it be the length of 7 years.
Who ambles time withal?
With a thief to the gallows, and a priest, and a rich man who have no pain. For the one sleep easily because he cannot study, the other live merrily because he have no pain. The one lacking the burden of lean and wasteful learning, the other knowing no burden of heavy, tedious penury. Thus time ambles withal.
Who doth he gallop withal?
With a thief to the gallows. Though he go as soft as foot can fall, he think himself too soon there.
Who stands time still withal?
With lawyers in the vacation, for they sleep between term and term and perceive not how time moves.
Where dwell thou, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest like fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you native of this place?
As the coney that dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than could be purchased in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many. Yes. An old religious uncle of mine, who was himself an inland man, taught me how to speak, and knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. There is another who haunts the forest, abusing our young plants by causing Rosalind in their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies upon brambles, all, forsooth, deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give them good counsel. For they seem to have the quotidian of love upon them.
I am she that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There is none of my uncle's mark upon you. He taught me to know someone in love, of which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner.
Well, what were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not. A blue eye and sunken, which you have not. An unquestionable spirit, which you have not. A beard neglected, which you have not, but I pardon you for that. Else your hose be ungartered, your bonnet unbandaged, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrates a careless desolation. But you are no such one. You are rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself rather than loving another.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe that I love.
Me believe it. Rather you would make her you love believe it, which I confess she is apter to do than to confess she does. That is the lie that women give to their conscience. But in good sooth, are you she that haunts this forest wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that she. That unfortunate she.
But are you so in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness. But I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me, his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me. And in time I, being but a moonish youth, proud, fantastical, inconstant, changeable, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, did forswear him, then entertain him, like him, then loathe him, weep at him, then spit at him, and in time I drove my suitor from a mad humour of love into a living humour of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and live in a nook, merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And in that way I will wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there will not be one drop of lumber.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you. If you would but come to my coats every day and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me to it, and I will show you. And by the way, you will show me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, will you go?
Bah! Bah! Come, Audrey. Bah! I will fetch up thy goats, Audrey. Bah! Bah! And now, Audrey, am I the man yet? Doth my simple features content you?
Your features, Lord warrant us what features.
I am here with thee and thy goats, gentle Audrey, as the most capricious poet, honest Ovid was, among the Goths.
Oh, knowledge ill-inhabited, worse than Jove in a thatched house.
When a man's good verses cannot be understood, nor a man's good wit, seconded with the forward child understanding, it strikes a man more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. Truly, I wish the gods had made thee poetical.
I do not know what poetical is. Is it honest in deed and word? Is it a true thing?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and as lovers are given to poetry, what they swear as lovers may be said they do feign.
Do you wish then that the gods had made me poetical?
No, truly, for thou swearest thou art honest, and if thou wert poetical, I would have some hope thou didst feign.
Would you not have me honest?
No, truly. For to have honesty coupled to beauty would be to have honey a sauce to sugar.
A material fool! Well, I am not fair. Therefore I pray the gods make me honest.
Be that as it may, Audrey, I will marry you. And to that end, I have been with the vicar of the next village, Sir Oliver Martext, who has agreed to meet me here and to couple us.
Oh, I fancy this meeting. Oh, the gods give us joy.
Good even, sir. Will you, couple us here, under this tree, or shall we go with you to your chapel?
Is there none here to give the woman?
I'll not take her on gift of any man.
Truly she must be given, or the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed, I will give her.
Good even, sir, you are met. Prithee, be covered.
Will you be married motley?
As the ox has his bow, and the horse his curb, and the falcon her bells, so man has his desires, and his pigeon's bill. Wedlock would be nibbling.
And will you, a man of your breeding, be married under a bush like a beggar? Get thee to a church. Have a proper priest who knows what marriage is. Well, this fellow here will join you together as they join wainscot. One of you will prove a shrunk panel in like green timber, warp warp. Go thou with me, and let me counsel thee.
Come, Audrey, we must be married, or we will live in bawdry. Farewell to Oliver Martex. Not, oh sweet Oliver, oh brave Oliver, leave me not behind me, but wind away. Be gone, I say. I will not to wedding with thee.
'Tis no matter. Ne'er a knave of all of them shall flout me of my calling.
Never talk to me, I will weep.
Do, I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
Indeed, as good a cause as one would desire, therefore weep.
In fact, her hair is of a good colour.
Oh, an excellent colour. Your chestnut was ever the only colour.
And her kissing is as full of sanctity as the touch of holy bread.
She hath bought a pair of cast lips of Diana. A nun of winter sisterhood kisses not more religiously. The very ice of chastity is within her.
But why did she say she'll come today and comes not?
Yes, there is no truth in her.
Do you think so?
Yes. I think she is not a pickpocket, nor a horse stealer. But as for her verity in love, I do think her as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love.
Yes, when she is in it. But I think she is not in it.
You heard us swear downright she was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of a lover is no stronger than the word of a tapster. They are both the confirmer of false reckonings. She attends here in the forest on the Duke, your father.
I met the Duke the other day and had much question with him. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of as good as he, so he laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there is such a woman as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave woman. She writes brave verses, speaks brave words, and swears brave oaths, and then breaks them, bravely, quite traverse, athwart the heart of her lover like a Pilsey tilter that spurs her horse only on one side and then breaks her staff like a noble goose. But all's brave that youth mounts and folly guides. Ah, look who comes here.
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after the shepherd who complained of love.
What of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you if you will mark it.
Oh, come, let's us away. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Take us to the sight, and you shall say our proof is the action ready.
Free Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe. Say you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humble neck, but first begs pardon. Will you stand to be that heathen dies and lives by bloody brooks?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tell'st me there is murder in mine eye? 'Tis pretty, sure, and very probable, that eyes, which are the frailest and softest things, who shut their coward gates on atomies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart, and if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Counterfeit to swoon, why not fall down? Or if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. Lean but upon a rush. The cicatrice incapable in pressure, thy palm some moment keeps. But now mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not, nor am I sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Sweet Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you find in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then you shall know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time come not thou near me, and when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why? I pray thee. Who might be your mother, that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty, for I see no more in you than when that candle might go dark to bed? Why must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than the ordinary of nature's sailwork. Odds my life, I think he means to tangle my eyes too. No, Faith, proud master, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can attain my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherds! Why must you follow him like foggy south, puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times the proper man. 'Tis not your glass, but you that flatters him, and out of him he sees himself more proper than any of his lineaments can show him. But shepherd, know thyself. Down on your knees and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. Cry the man mercy, take his offer. Foul is most foul, 'tis foul to be a scoffer. So take him to thee, shepherd. Fare thee well.
Sweet youth, I pray you, chide a year together. I'd rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and he'll fall in love with my anger. As fast as he answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce thee with angry words. Why look you so upon me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray thee, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than Wild's word in mine. Besides, I like thee not. If you will know my house, 'tis at the tuft of olives here hard by. Come, brother, shepherd, ply him hard. Go with me, brother, shepherd. Look on him better, and be not proud, for all the world can see. None can be so abused in sight as he. Come to Uplook.
Dead shepherd, now I find thy saw of might. Whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe,
What sayest thou, Silvius?
sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I feel sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be if you do sorrow at my grief and love, by giving love, your sorrow, and my grief were both extermined.
Thou hast my love, is not that neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee, and yet it is not that I bear thee love. But since that thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which durst was irksome to me, I will endure. And I'll employ thee too. But do not look for further recompense than thine own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such a poverty of grace, that I would think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man the main harvest reaps. Loose now and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Knowest now the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have spoke to him, and he has bought the cottage and the grounds that the old Carlet once was master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, and yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offense, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, though for his years he's tall. There be some men, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. And yet, for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet, I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black and my hair black, and I remembered, scorned at me. I marveled why I answered not again. But that's all one. Omittance is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it to him straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I'll be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
Ladies, gentlemen, clowns, goats, we will now be taking a short break, but please, if you desire to use the public conveniences yonder, be quick. We will be returning to Arden in 5 minutes.